Alright, let's talk about. I'm not going to do my life vlog this week. I actually want to do a hormone update because I mentioned that I'm stopped doing them week to week because I stopped noticing as many changes. So I just wanted to do like a certain amount of updates. This week I hit the 2 month mark, and I feel like that's the right time to do an update. Actually, I think it might be over 2 months. I'm a little, I don't know. I've lost track a little bit. I know I'm not at 3 months. Is the point? I'm about to hit 3 months. I'm over. I'm over. I'm over 2 months in 3 months. Basically, is where I'm at. So I wanted to talk about that. And this is a very exciting time for me. I actually, so I guess I'll give you some brief history about my transition process up until this point, so you can understand. But I recommend watching some of the other videos, and if you want a little bit more context, especially for all you who might be thinking, "Hey, I'm trans," and you know, don't. By the way, don't make decisions based on things that I tell you. I mean, if I can help you make an informed decision, I'm glad. But don't just take my opinion alone. Talk to a medical professional, maybe a therapist. Um, Basically, for a long time, I was in the closet as trans. Didn't realize I was trans. And I was finally able to come out last like November, December, somewhere there. So by the way, if you are trans and you have the ability not to come out near the holidays, please don't, because I have a lot of transphobic family, like that came to visit for the holidays, and it was very, very fucking difficult. And I've still like one of the things I will say that I want people who in this audience to understand: you will lose relationships over being trans. And I'm not saying that to be mean, but one of the things that when you start coming out and transitioning, going through everything, that is the moment that you are going to realize who actually cares about you, whether it's friends, families, coworkers. Um, you're going to realize the ones that stick up for you and stand up for you, and you're going to have to start making choices about who's going to stick around in your life, because a lot of people who know you really well might have been able to see the signs early, or maybe it was unexpected for everybody. Every person is different. For me, it was unexpected for just about everyone in my life, except for a few people that I told things in private. And because the signs were not obvious like some people, for me, they weren't obvious to myself, and they weren't obvious to them. So I want to express that because I don't want you to make, from the way I'm describing things, to make you feel like, oh, this was an easy thing. No, it's a very difficult thing. That's why I'm saying, like, don't just take my words and make decisions. Work with professionals, talk to, family members that you know that won't rat you out or will treat you respectfully, friends, family, whatever. I mean, one of the things I made mistakes as an early teenager was I had a friend that I had talked to about some of this, and he basically told me that he looked at me and said, "Well, if you end up being trans, I would stop hanging out with you, stop talking to you." Now we don't talk anymore, and it's not. He doesn't even know I'm trans, so that's tell you enough right there. But like, genuinely, there are people in my life that you can't confide in. You can't trust to always be there for you. People come and go out of your life as part of being human, but this is one where it's going to really be the tough choices, because you're talking about people who might be against your existence entirely. It's a really sad world we live in, but it is the thing that I had to deal with. I just recommend, though, if you have the ability, again, if you don't, whatever, don't come out near the holidays. You don't want that pressure. You just don't. Me and my bro made the same decision to come out during the holidays. He did it at a different holiday time, but that was an ugly situation. I did it at another holiday time, and there was an ugly decision. So, but anyways, and once I realized that my Medi-Cal, because I live in California, covers male to female hormones. I basically took care of that. So I, went through some struggles getting off my parents' insurance to pay for it because I like, guys, I cannot tell you how irritating insurance is. I have two insurances, right? I have my Medi-Cal and I have my parents' insurance. And yet, one pays for something, the other one doesn't. Yet, it won't just overwrite the other one and pay for it. Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? So, my parents' insurance, like, they wanted me to go out of town to do the hormones. I'm like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. But then they were like, okay, fine, but you have to get off your parents' insurance. So, that's what I did. And so in January, I was able to get off, but I was able to go to my own hormone doctor. I will say, I was able to get them on the meds, and it was great. I started January 13th, so yeah, it's been 3 months. Here's what I will say. I really am happy with the results, but there was a part of me at a couple of points realized, oh, this wasn't what I thought it would be. A lot of people who transition, or doctors or therapists, or even just reading medical advice, will tell you that's not an overnight change. However, no amount of telling you that can actually set you up for that as when you're just going through it. Because the first few weeks, I noticed so many changes. Like, I noticed, like, my skin being softer. I noticed shaving being a little bit easier. I noticed, my mood being calmer, feeling less stressed out, sleeping better. I noticed little things as the weeks went on. But once it got to like past the 1 month mark and started like closer to 2 months and 3 months, stopped noticing changes. That's about the time I stopped doing those videos, if you didn't notice. And my pigtail's a little bit of a mess today. To be honest, I just did these before I started the camera because I want to show you something about my hair. And I just need the pigtails to do it. Anyways. I'll get into that in a minute, but you stop noticing the changes as much. So it's not saying that they're not happening; they still are. Like I'm still feeling the soreness in my right here, my nipples, my breasts. I'm sorry, that might be a little TMI, but it's true. I feel that still a little bit. The fat redistribution, I'm like noticing. Like I'm a big girl. Again, this might be a little TMI. If it's too much for you, skip it a little bit. But I looked in the mirror and I was like, yeah, because I was getting dressed for the day, and I was like, ooh, my ass is pulling a little bit. There's actually like I can tell like, oh, my hips and my ass had a little bit of a change, fat redistribution. So not by much, but I was like, oh, there's a change there, right? So that might be a little TMI, but like, I thought that was funny. I just thought I should share that. By the way, if you haven't noticed, these videos are unscripted. I just kind of talk. So I like that feeling of noticing little changes, but it kind of stopped. And so it really did remind me, oh, this is a slow process. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be things that don't go as easy. Like, for example, I still have to shave like 3 or 4 times a day. Well, not 3 or 4 times a day. I have to shave like at least twice a day. Because my facial hair has just not stopped growing. And not that the hormones actually stop it from growing, but they do slow it. And I've finally started to notice some slowing in the growth, but not by much. Now I've hit 3 months, I've really started to notice a lot more changes. Like, you can see my hair. It's, like, softer in texture, and, like, my balding is kind of thinned out. And I really like the pigtails, by the way, because they actually help highlight my more feminine look to my hair that I'm trying to go through. And my hair I actually have hair that's growing past my neck, which has never happened before me in my life. I've really done a great job growing out my hair. And I'm starting to like notice the less messy it's been looking lately. It's been looking a lot cleaner, at least to me. Just really happy with everything. My skin is still a lot softer. Like there's things I've been noticing. I'm just really happy with everything, and I can tell you, there is a difference I've really noticed in my moods and everything. I will say, on my male female hormones, when I get worked up about something though, like I had to call the state because my tax return was so fucking late. I really yelled at the automated machine. Same thing with Walmart trying to get a refund and it's through an AR machine. Like I really fucking yelled and I kind of embarrassed myself because I was in a parking lot. But you know, like that's the power of those meds. You have to really control your emotions. But where I got really helped out was, my sleeping. I couldn't take my hormone meds because I had caught the flu for a couple days. Nothing was staying in the stomach, but like when I was able to take the flu, get rid of the flu, I really realized how much better I was sleeping. I would literally wake up every hour of the night and I would have stress dreams where like people in my life were yelling at me and they were very realistic, intense stress dreams. And with my meds, I don't have those. And if I do, they're not as often. I sleep so much cleaner. Just so many little things in my life. And you can even tell, like, my face is a little bit more feminine than it's looked than before. Just a lot of things that you're seeing in my life. And I'm just really happy for it. I'm at the point, too, where in public, I'm getting identified correctly more often. There's people who know me, like customers at work, they don't really identify me correctly sometimes. And I don't bother to correct them because they're older folks. And it's like, why does everyone need to know my personal details? I think one of the things about being trans, too, is like, no one wants to be so out and open. I'm like, sure, do that. That's great. But to me, if I don't have to explain myself to somebody, I'm not going to. Like, people at work who misgender me, fuck it. Let them misgender me. Doesn't change me, and I'm happy with me. I think that's one thing that trans people forget. Is about being happy for you. And so it may hurt to be misgendered every once in a while, but once you get to a point that you're happy, it won't really mean anything when people misgender you. It will only hurt when it's family members and people that you want to have a close relationship. Like me with my family, I deal with that, in a lot of regards. And that is really shitty. I deal with them calling me by that name, my dead name, and it actually does affect me. Like I don't even recognize the name that they're calling me at this point. And I keep hearing that name and I'm like, fuck, oh, that's right, that is my name, and I have to respond to it, And I'm not at the point where I can cut out certain family members or get them to really change. So it's just a whole mess of emotions and things. None of this is gonna be easy. It's just about being happy. And the best way to be happy is to remind yourself that you're doing what you need to do for you and take care of yourself. So I hope this helps anybody out there. Let me know your thoughts.